I was having lunch with an entrepreneur friend of mine the other day who just crossed the 2 million per month mark, and he looked exhausted. You know, as we were having lunch, I said, "Congrats on the success," as I raised my glass of water, and he didn't raise his. Instead, he just stared into his plate and said, something that just changed how I see business forever. And he shared, "I escaped my 9 to 5 to build my 5 to 9. And just there it was. The truth that nobody really wants to admit. Most entrepreneurs don't build businesses. They build better paying prisons, right? With nicer titles and health and no health insurance. And the crazy thing is that, every single day you're making a choice. You're either building a machine that runs without you, or you're building a cage that needs you to that just wants you to try and survive within it. And most people, they're building cages. Beautiful, profitable, soul-sucking cages. And they got teams to manage and Slack notifications at midnight and 17 different, products that each need updating. And customer support, all these fires to put out and live launches every quarter and ads that they have to run constantly. And what it's doing is just draining them for weeks, if not months. And they're making money, sure, but they're not free. They're just traded, their boss for a business that bosses them around 24/7. And me, I used to be that guy. 60-hour weeks, 80-hour weeks, team of 20 plus people, complex funnels that broke. I had to constantly put out fires all day, every day. And revenue was growing, yeah, but so was my anxiety. The dosage of my anxiety was growing each and every month. And so then I discovered something that flipped everything. The one-person empire. Actually, it isn't one person. It's one person plus an army of robots that never really sleep for you. And let me tell you about my Mondays now. I wake up at, 5 a.m. I oftentimes will grab a coffee. I sit down at my desk. And by 10, I'm done creating for the entire week. And usually I'll split it up into 1 hour days and only a couple hours every week, 2 hours at most, every day. 40 pieces of content just done, LinkedIn posts, Twitter threads, newsletters, YouTube scripts, courses, everything. All of it's all updated. How? I stopped creating content and I started running a content operating system. And here's the difference. And this is the key. Creators, they'll write posts, right? They'll system builders, what they do is they produce machines that produce posts. And my machine has 4 parts. Actually, let me break it down so that you can understand. First, there's my pillar system, right? And I talk about 4 different topics, and that's it. I talk about systems, mindset, leverage, and focus, and that's it. And these 4 topics are remixed and recycled. And do you know why? Because your audience, they have a memory of a goldfish. They need repetition, not novelty. You don't have to create new things every single day, every single week. You can recycle them. And so last week, somebody commented, this is the 5th time that you've talked about systems thinking. And the thing is that's the first time they actually heard it. And so there's, I have a template vault, 28 proven formats and things sitting in a Google Doc. And I don't stare at blank pages anymore. I plug ideas into frameworks and systems, and it just outputs what I want. And it's basically, it's a system for millionaires, right? And that repurposing, that engine that helps me to repurpose, is where everything really gets interesting. One idea becomes 10 assets or 40 assets, 100 assets. That LinkedIn post or that idea, it can also be a Twitter thread. It can become a YouTube video. It can become a newsletter. And so that can become an entire course, which can become many things. And so I'm not working harder. I'm extracting more value from every single thought that I have. And finally, the batch protocol, Monday morning, 2 hours at most, I have everything for the week. And the rest of the week, I'm thinking, right? I'm going on walks, I'm ideating ideas, I'm recording voice notes, just simple things. And without this system, you are essentially like a content hamster, running on a wheel that never stops. And how did I actually make my How do I know all that this works? Well, I did it in my agency for many years, like with huge clients that if I told you their names, you'd be like, wow, well, it makes sense, right? It's been proven with thousands of clients that I helped over a decade in my agency. And so with that, like, you are an architect who built a machine that runs while you sleep. And I'm not about to like do something different and try and keep inventing something in this space of content creation when I know what actually works just works. Like, keep doing what works. And a lot of this like pisses people off. Like, every funnel hacker watching this is going to be mad. You only really need like one product, 2 at most, to make millions. Just 2. Not 47 different SKUs, not a new launch every single month, not running Facebook ads constantly 24/7, not all these different ascending ladders of values and all these things with 19 steps. Just 2 products, 1 ideally. And so here's my stack. The gateway at, what I sell is a very low ticket. It's $3.99. And so mine teaches content operating systems. It takes a couple hours to consume. I give you all the prompts and the AI and the aspects of everything it is to build this content system and have it run on autopilot. And then I give you the frameworks and the principles of what makes actual good content. That is the gateway drug to my thinking. Then there's my high ticket. And this is, I sell as a mastermind, but it's just the same information, but iteration and actual implementation into me. So same information, just implementation, closer proximity to me as the founder and my team. And that's it. Like, that is the transformation to get them to become and use content to fuel their business, to help them make sales, to productize themselves. And everything I know about building like a one-person empire and agencies and businesses, this is all within there. And so it's a couple modules, it's a couple hours, and that is where, their reputations are made, right? And that's it. That's the whole product. Like, I sell one thing in 2 different ways, a low ticket and then proximity to me, which is about implementation and transformation coaching from myself. And I get what some of you are saying, but like, what about recurring revenue? What about low ticket? What about all these things? Like, all that is unnecessary. Like, yes, you can add a third, and that you could call it like the inner circle, whatever it is that you want to do. But the thing is if you're not at $1 million or more per year, then just stick with one product till you get there. Yes, you could sell community access and monthly calls, insider content. Like, this is that, I like to think of that as your stability, like your sleep well at night content. Like, that's the money that comes in. And what I don't have, like what I don't do? I don't have 17 different courses at different price points and all these complicated upsells and downsells. As a matter of fact, I don't even have a funnel. Like, I just have straight to my low ticket, which is $3.99. It's, people can buy that. And then I do not do sales calls into my high ticket. Maybe at some point I might. I did that for a long time, but I just think that it's unnecessary. And so you don't need downsell funnels for people who don't cross buy and upsells and all these different things. I'm telling you, it's horseshit. You don't need product launches every quarter that are just going to exhaust you. Like, every product that you add in, it multiplies its complexity. And so your customer service, your fulfillment, your tech stacks, your onboarding, like, all of that is just going to multiply, and it requires updates all the time. It requires delivery systems, fulfillment systems, refund systems, different contracts, like all this shit that is just unnecessary. And so if you keep it simple, like stupid simple, and you keep just the absolute basic of what you're trying to do, you can make millions of dollars. And in that, you actually keep your freedom. I know somebody making $5 million a year from 2 products. And so while everybody else is building, product mazes and all these different things, these ladders and, upsells and downsells and all this shit, like, when you just keep it simple, that is where the magic happens. And this is where one human becomes more powerful than a company of like 100. Isn't that just crazy to really think about? Like, I know people who run one person companies that make more than a 100-person company, like the net income. And that's all that matters. Like, yeah, they might make $1 million a month or $5 million a month, but they net like 5%, 10%. while the other person is netting $1 million a month. And so big difference. And they don't have a team. They actually have freedom. They can go anywhere that they want, whenever they want. They don't have to constantly put out fires. And so my team of what I do is ConvertKit. That is my sales team, and that is who they are. Maybe at some point I might build another sales team, like high ticket on phones, but I just think it's unnecessary. Zapier is my automations department, helps me automate things. AI is my entire customer support. I have it built in. And then how I sell is just through Stripe into my community. Very simple. No funnels, none of that shit. And then I have a social media posting thing, whether it be Hype Fury for like Twitter, a couple different aspects that I have that just allows me to schedule and automate my social posts. And what all those things do, like my whole stack, none of it calls in sick. I never have to worry about them asking for a raise. I never need to review performance reviews. I never have to create any drama. I don't have an HR department. I don't have any employees. And I never get any texts that is like, hey, I can't work this day, or hey, I found a better job and I'm gonna go here. Here's what automation actually like looks like in practice. And so somebody in like Tokyo buys my course at 3 a.m. while I'm sleeping, and instantly, without me doing anything, Stripe processes it. The invite is sent through Zapier, and they're added to my ConvertKit and to my email sequence, and they get instant access to everything. They get a welcome email in their inbox, and then it hits my Slack notification and hits my phone later when I want to check it. And then if a support ticket like comes in at midnight, AI just handles it. If content needs to be published while I'm like on a hike or on a trip or doing something with my family, like the scheduling software for social media, it has it handled. I don't have to do it. And then in my email sequences, like my nurturing and all that, like nurturing leads for 6 months, I don't use a CRM. I think it's unnecessary. First of all, it's crazy amounts of money to pay for like HubSpot, because I used to pay $30,000 a year for that. And so I don't use any of that. I just use my newsletter. Like it nurtures them for 6 months and then they buy. And people are they know me far better than any person could ever, like on my team in the past when I owned my agency. They are more warmed up to me than any person could nurture when I owned my agency. And it's not that person, those people like that own my agency are bad. It's not that they were bad at their job. It's just that the newsletter never takes the time off. It knows everything about everybody, all that they've clicked and what they've raised their hands on, the interests that they have, and so it tracks all of that. It's built into it just automatically. And so ConvertKit is on it. Like they're sending perfectly timed messages based on the behavior. And so what I want to say is like, here's my test. I call it my 3 a.m. test. If someone can buy from you, get to it and get delivered to, and have all their questions answered at 3 a.m. while you're sleeping, like in deep REM sleep, you've built a machine, you've built a system. And if not, you've built a job. Forget revenue, like forget your follower count, forget how much money you're making, forget how many products you have or people you employ. There's only one metric: revenue per hour worked. And so let me break this down. Making 500K working 40-hour weeks, that's $250 an hour. And it's, some people say, man, I wish I could make that. Like, that's not bad. But making $2 million working 4 hours a day, that's, $2,500 an hour. And so that is an empire, right? One is a high paying job. The other is true freedom. And so most people never calculate this because the truth hurts, right? Like, yeah, I'm making $1 million a month. I'm making $2 million a month, but I'm netting 10%. Which is like $100,000 to $200,000. And I get it, like $100,000 to $200,000, people would dig ditches for that, but they're making, $50 an hour with extra steps and no boss to blame, right? So here's the uncomfortable truth that essentially nobody's going to tell you. The one person business is a lie, but it's a useful lie. You're not really alone. You have 50 plus systems working for you. They are your digital employees. They're digital workers who never need management. And so ConvertKit is your sales team, working every single lead perfectly, never forgetting any follow-up ever. And then like Stripe or Gumroad or, things of that, Thrivecart, it's your fulfillment team. It's where people can actually purchase products instantly globally forever. And then AI is your support team, answering questions with like infinite patience and everything that you could ever have anybody know about your products instantly. You have a new update or something that's in there, you can just put it in there, give it context, give it artifacts, and just knows everything about everything. And it can base past answers of clients of their questions into new questions, which is incredible. And then Zapier, that's your automations team, connecting everything, automating every workflow. And so you're not building a business, you're building a machine. And once it's built, essentially you become unnecessary. And that's the goal, right? Like to become unnecessary to your own business and let it do work for you rather than you do work for it. And now here's what nobody really wants to tell you about scaling. Every team member adds 10 hours of management per month, minimum, if you're managing decently. It usually adds more when you're managing really effectively. And so even if that's A+ talent. And so every product adds 20 hours of maintenance. Every funnel adds 30 points of failure. And every complication reduces freedom by, 10% minimum. But we keep adding because we think complexity equals progress. And I can tell you that it doesn't. Like complexity is procrastination dressed in productivity's clothes. And so I had 20 people working for me at once, like in my personal brand, and many more in my agency that I once had, both agencies. And so you know what I spent most of my time doing? Managing those people, like meetings, reviews, conflicts, hiring, systems, SOPs, like all this shit that just took up my time, like firing, HR, all this stuff. And I get it. It's like people are saying, well, once your company grows bigger, then you'll do that. My agency was pretty damn big. Like we helped some of the biggest clients in the world and we made millions of dollars. And so now coming into this game again, like I have 0 employees and I make more money. Like I net more money. And so how is that possible? Like I fired humans and hired systems. I built machines and systems. Systems don't have feelings. They don't need motivation. They just execute. And look, I get it. Like this might feel overwhelming. It took me years to unlearn everything that I thought I knew about business, like years of stripping away complexity instead of adding it. But what you have to realize, and like in this day and age, there are businesses that are ran by 20 people and they make billions of dollars. 20 people, no HR department, no hiring, no firing. They're just like 20 people, like amazing engineers, and that company makes billions of dollars. There are people that are now becoming billionaires and they're a one-person solopreneur business. And so what that takes is like years of saying no to opportunities that would have, of course, like made money, but it would have cost freedom. And like I've gone down the route of it costing my freedom. And yes, I learned a lot, but the thing that I now know is like, if you're at a crossroads, like right now today, path 1 is keep building complexity. Hire virtual assistants, add more products, bring on more sales reps, create more complexity, create elaborate funnels and manage people and schedule meetings and trade your time with money for more extra steps, right? Or path 2 is build 3 systems, a content system, a product ladder, and an automation layer. Then disappear into the mountains while the machine just prints money for you. Because the market doesn't care how hard you work. They could truly care less. It only cares about the value they deliver that you have and the problem that you're solving and how fast you get to deliver that. And so these 3 layers deliver maximum value with minimal input. And that's not lazy. Like that is genius, right? So let me ask you something, is like, what would change if your business could run for a week without you? Like what would happen? What would shift in if you measured success by hours of freedom and not hours of work? And so what would you create if you had Monday through Friday free to just think and like do whatever you wanted? Because here's the truth that changed everything for me in my journey. Like freedom is not about making more money. Like yes, money is a part of it, but freedom is about making money without you having to do the work. And so the machine serves you, not the other way around. Monday morning, like 2 hours, entire week done. 2 products, infinite sales. 0 employees, 50 systems. $2,500 per hour worked. That's like not a fantasy. That's a choice, right? And so the one person empire isn't about being alone. It's about building something that runs alone and just works for you while you live, while you really truly get to experience life and not manage, not hustle, not grind, like truly live. And that is the game. Like that's the empire, that's the freedom. And it's all just 3 layers away. So what's it going to be, right? The machine that serves you or the prison you built for yourself? Choose wisely, my friend. Your future self, they are watching.